Hello and welcome along to part 2 of making a video/web graphic. In the first video we set some type, put it on a curve, getting it ready to be taken into Photoshop. Okay, to do that I'm going to check my layers. I've got 3 layers and 1 locked layer. Now I don't want the background, I simply want these 3 layers. Now to get them into Photoshop is quite easy. Apple A to select all of those lines. I'm going to copy them, Apple C to copy them. Then I'm going to Command Tab over to Photoshop, and in Photoshop I'm going to start a new file. Now it's got the same video setup that Illustrator has, which we go down here to Film and Video, and we go down here to HD TV. You'll see now we've got a 1920 by 1080, the same as we had in Illustrator, but this time we've got resolution to deal with. Now 72 dpi is fine, that's screen resolution. That's the best part about working in video and web graphics, is that we normally work at 72 dpi, and of course RGB is our space. And okay, now let's have a look at Apple Plus to zoom in a little bit, or Apple Minus. Let's have a look at that. By the way, these guides, if they're in the way, they're action and title safe guides, something you'll learn about in a video class. Okay, now I've got a white background over here like that, so I'm going to use the shortcut. That's a bit too long-winded. I'm going to press the letter D on the keyboard to get my default black and white colors, and X, if I want to swap between background and foreground, I just simply press the letter X. But in this case, if I press D, I get a black foreground. Now if I Option Delete like that, it will fill with the foreground color. Command Delete to fill with the background color. Okay, now I've got a black background. This is what I want. It's all good. Now I've got those lines from Illustrator on the clipboard. I've copied them. So now I'm simply going to Apple V paste like that. Apple V for Victor. Now here we've got some options. Now in my experience, I do it this way. Everybody's got their own way of doing things, but I like to paste the lot as a smart object like this on their own layer. And once they're pasted, I'll just press Return like that. Now why I do that is so I can keep it intact, the 3 lines intact, just in case sometime down the track I want to move them or work on them as a complete set. But I like to also bring them in as individual lines, so I'm going to Command Tab back to Illustrator like that. I'm going to select the sculpture layer, and here's one of the reasons that I actually it's the C layer, sorry, the C layer, I should have named it up there. Actually, I might go to the sculpture layer first and click on that and select that. Actually, the C is getting in the way. Apple Z that. There it is. That's what I want. I'll just select that layer. Command C, copy it, and I'll Command Tab back to Photoshop. Now I'm going to hide that smart object I just made. I'm going to Apple V to paste. This time, I'm going to paste it as pixels like that. I'm going to press Return to accept it, and go back. Press the letter V to go back to my move tool, and I'm just going to move it up to approximately where it's going to go. Just there is good, just inside that title safe area. I'm going to Command Tab back to Illustrator. This time I'm going to lock those layers because the by is quite small and hard to select, so I'm going to copy that, Command C like that. I'm going to Command Tab back to Photoshop and Apple V for Victor, and again I'll paste as pixels. Press Return. I'm going to move that up like this, and while I'm here I might as well name my layers. So this layer here is going to be Sculpture like that. This layer here is going to be By the, and now I'm going to Command Tab back to Illustrator again, and I'm going to grab the C layer. Now the C layer is locked, so I'll just unlock it up there and copy it, Command C, Command Tab back to Photoshop, and Apple V to paste it as pixel. You notice it pastes it right in the center of the stage, which is exactly what we want. We'll press Return like that, and Command down arrow just to move that down back into place to about there like that. And that's nearly how we had it in Illustrator. I'm going to grab the By the layer and just move that up a little bit. Might zoom in Apple Plus to have a closer look. Move that in, move it up a little bit, and I might go to the C layer and move it up too. And that's how we had it in Illustrator. So I'm just going to double click on that layer and type in C. So now we've got it correct, and I'm going to save this file. Should have saved it earlier. It's always good form to save these things earlier. And I'm going to find my sculpture layer. There it is there. I'm going to call it SBS Sculpture by the Sea, that is, and save. Very nice indeed. Now, just to neaten up my layer panel a little bit, I'm going to select all these layers, 4 of them, like that. I'm going to grab them and drag them down onto create a new group or folder like that. And I'm going to double click on that and call them text layers. And there you go. There's a simple way of getting your text from Illustrator into Photoshop and having it separated so you can work on layers individually. You'll find it's good form to do it that way. I'll see you in the next video when we start to colorize this text.